Hi everyone, James Egersdorff here to preview game week 15 on the Fantasy Premier League. What a midweek set of results that was in game week 14. I was literally hiding behind the sofa for most of Tuesday. I had Harry Kane as captain. I couldn't believe that Tottenham let themselves down again. Those last 20-30 minutes I was refreshing my phone every 5 seconds. In the end, had to turn it off and check it at full time because I just couldn't handle the nerves of Kane possibly blanking, especially with the Chelsea game the next day. I thought they'd really do a lot better against Newcastle. But Wednesday night, obviously a real mad night for rotation. I talked about it in my previous video that was definitely something that was going to be a problem in the coming weeks, and we really saw it massively on Wednesday. Azpilicueta, Silva, Salah, Hazard, all put on the bench. But 10 years plus experience of playing the game and managing FPL teams tells me that it's not always a disaster if your player, especially your attacking players, are on the bench. Because often, like we saw with Salah, they can come on for the last half an hour, 20 minutes or so, and really make an impact on the game and still get a good score. But I must stress now, one of the strategies that you need to think about moving forward is having 15 players in your squad that play every week, or certainly start every week. Rotation is something that you can't control, you can't predict. But what you can control is having those 15 players that start every week, and with that gives you options, and with options that brings points. So I can't stress that enough. That is a strategy you really need to think about at the minute. So what I'm going to talk about on this video, I'm going to talk about Spurs, I'm going to chat a bit about Lukaku, I'm going to talk about the captain options. People have asked me about mid-price forwards for the next 3 or 4 game weeks. I'm going to chat about that, and I'm going to have a quick mention about Big Sam and what I think he's going to do for Everton. So Spurs, we'll start there. Like I said, Kane, he is delivering at the minute. He is scoring goals. I think the problem with Tottenham and their bad run isn't an individual thing. It's actually a Spurs problem. It's the whole team that are letting themselves down. So it'll be interesting to see if they can come back and hit form again against Watford. The challenges I think they have, they've gone off the rails since Alderweireld got his injury, so that's been quite interesting. I think Ali and Eriksen are off the boil, so I think we could see some rotation there, potentially at weekend, with players like Son and maybe even Llorente coming in and changing the system slightly. I don't think they'll drop Kane, but I do think it's interesting, this rotation with Davis and Trippier, who I think are their best fullbacks, and they play better when they're in the team. Rose and Aurier, not as good. So I think that's where Pochettino might be going wrong a bit slightly. I think with Lukaku and Manchester United, he looks really tired to me, this guy. And I think with Ibrahimovic back to fitness, I can see there being some rotation for him. A great example of his tiredness, he had a chance midweek against Watford, but halfway through the second half, a simple one-touch finish, and he took about 4 or 5 touches, and the defenders got back, and the chance was gone. He would have buried that chance in August, September time, but like I say, he looks tired. Captains. It's a really interesting one this week because there's quite a number of options. I've talked about Kane, and I think you should, Kane is a viable option, but I think you should only back him if you think Tottenham are going to turn the corner and Tottenham are going to come good. It's a collective challenge there. Salah is absolutely on fire. If you're going to pick him, you need to look at the Brighton home results. They seemed quite hard to beat at the Amex, and can they frustrate Liverpool? That's what the question you've got to ask. I think the safe bet is one of the Chelsea players. Hazard, of course, only played 10 minutes midweek, so you'd expect him to start on Saturday. He looks the safest bet. A tempting bet is the Man City guys at home to West Ham, who look hopeless. But again, you've got to be confident they're going to play, and it's a bit of a coin toss as to who's going to start in that Man City front line. So that's captains. On to the strikers that people have asked me to talk about. I think there's 4 that I've looked at and picked out that could fire, that have low ownership, and over the next 4 weeks could do well. There's Chris Wood at Burnley. He gets a lot of goals. He gets most of their goals. The risk is Burnley don't score many goals, but if you fancy them to score a few, they've got some good fixtures coming up. Giroud could be an option. It looks like Lacazette might be injured, and he came on in midweek and scored. He always does well when he has a run of games, gets a run in the team. So he could be an option for you. Likewise, another player back from injury is Benteke. And I am backing and have backed Palace in previous videos to turn a corner now. That's 4 points out of 6 for them, and I think he could come good as he regains his fitness. But a player I'm really interested in, and it moves me on to the Big Sam bit, and that's Rooney. I watched Everton on telly in midweek, and he was excellent. He was playing in a central midfield, fairly free kind of role, getting up and down the pitch, dictating play, coming on late into the box. Missed a penalty, but then Rooney does tend to miss quite a few penalties, I note, but a hat-trick nonetheless. And I'd be really encouraged by the appointment of Big Sam, because if you analyse Big Sam over the last 10 years, the different clubs he's managed, what I really like about him, he is a system manager. So what I mean by that, he comes in, he has a formula, there's a big entourage of people, he likes data, he likes analytics and things, and he really analyses the opposition. But he often plays the same 4-3-3 system, in which Rooney will sit in that third midfielder, central midfielder, just like Kevin Nolan has done for Allardyce over the years. But Rooney's a far better player, and Nolan was a guy who used to get 15 to 20 goals per year in that system. I think the other players in the Everton team that are going to benefit from his appointment, I think it's good news for Pickford, because Allardyce typically plays a very defensive style. It can often mean that opponents are forced to shoot from long distance. Pickford's a great shot stopper. If you remember Jääskeläinen in the FPL, he used to be a great option. He used to make lots of saves, and that's largely because the way Sam sets up his teams to be quite tight and quite compact. But I think the player that's going to get the best use out of the Allardyce system is Sigurdsson. And that's because Allardyce's strategy is all about getting balls in the box. It's about winning the second ball. It's about asking questions of the opposition. Sigurdsson is your man. If you're looking for a set-piece taker, his delivery is probably the best in the league. And I think we're even going to see Pickford, when they win free kicks in their own half, you'll see Pickford taking long free kicks, centre-half going up to win the aerial challenges. So that brings Keane and Williams into contention as being attacking assets as well as defensive. This isn't going to happen overnight. Allardyce typically rolls out this strategy quite, over a period of weeks. It takes a while to bed in. So look out for it. I think that'll come into contention in January. So I hope that's been helpful for everybody. Really looking forward to game week 15. The games are going to come thick and fast now. So if you've got 15 players that are playing every week and you can carry a transfer, do so. Injuries, suspension, rotation, it's all going to come into play. So if you've got 2 transfers, that'll help. Thanks for your support with the video. Please keep subscribing, keep liking, keep commenting in the box below. Let me know what you'd like to hear about for the Game Week 16 video. Have a great weekend.